If you are watching this video, first off, thank you. Second, this video will be covering the final unlockable area of Frebbventure, an indie 2D platformer game released earlier this year. I recently reviewed it and had so much to say about the final area that I had to make it its own video. If you haven't played Frebbventure, I would suggest doing so before watching this video, as it does cover spoilers. Or at least watch my original video on the topic, link in the description. Obviously, there will be a lot of spoilers in this video. Frebbventure isn't a story-based game per se, but it is still a game with a good story. Ulthethot has been defeated and fled the world. Frebb has been spending time with the reindeer tribe him and Drin saved. Guess it's time to relax, right? Well, not so fast. Ulthethot is still alive and his army is on the moon, with a beam pointed right at Frebb. But luckily, it needs a full day to charge. That's the basic ending, if you don't gather all the Skywatch stones. These are 4 stones gathered in each of the game's normal worlds. By completing 20 challenges in every world, a new bonus level is unlocked. In the first world, Breezy Heights, this led to a challenging level that focused greatly on platforming and dodging spiked walls. It also featured 2 boss fights, both of which were remixes of previous ones. There was also this one part where I had to ride this worm-like creature, a bit like the Wigglers from Mario World. After reaching the end, I was brought to a cutscene in the swirling dimension. Here, Drin and Frebb met Brunner. Oh, he's the real Thunder King, the title Frebb pretended to have during his adventures in Soda Lagoon. Turns out he's trapped in this dimension, and this is the 500th year there. Before Ulthethot took over the Earth, he was one of the planet's protectors. A relatively easy job, except for one foe in his way, Demogora Akai. Akai was the last name of Rose, Ulthethot's right-hand woman who he killed before she betrayed him. Right? Anyways, Brunner tells Frebb of his great fights with Demogora, until one day she came back much stronger, angrier, and unbeatable. However, it's still not enough to kill Brunner. Knowing this, Demogora traps him in a pocket dimension. With this new knowledge and realization that Brunner could be of great help, Frebb and Drim decide to gather all the Skywatch stones. I next went to World 3, Cosmopolis. I'd already gotten 9 challenges here, so it was no issue getting 11 more. Here, Frebb is sent back to the past, where the Ulthethot army was at their prime. Huh, this plays a lot like how old PC platformers would play, even with the use of basic stock sound effects. Here we have what I can only describe as Frebbventure Lite, a very basic 2D platformer that goes through a slew of levels based on the ones from the game. Frebb can only jump and attack, with only 1 life. Yep, get hit and you're restarting that level. We even have boss fights like this, including one that was unironically harder than the last fight with Rose. Okay, this was funny at first, but after a few levels it's just kinda there. Like, it's not bad, it's just kinda overstaying its welcome. And at the end, the Ulthethot army decides that Frebb is too strong, so they'll send him to the future, where the Ulthethot army will definitely be much stronger and unable to be defeated. With the second Skywatch stone, Brunner appears to Drin and Frebb again, telling them about the capture and death of his partners and Demogora herself, only for her to be reincarnated as the woman we now know as Rose. With this knowledge, I next went to the 4th world's bonus level. This had us traveling through the Akai castle, first through a booby-trapped dark area full of guards and ninjas. They have the Skywatch stone, and they intend to keep it that way. After taking out this hellish beast at the end of the tunnel, we go further into the area, coming across a weirdly unsettling and clown-designed area? This is pretty creepy. After going through that, Brunner explains to our heroes how Ulthethot came to rule Earth. Finally, we have the Yonderlands bonus level. This wasn't anything too crazy, just a challenging level to end things off. The boss at the end of it was a breeze. And with all the stones, Brunner is able to escape his prison and inform our heroes about Rose's return. She's using up a lot of energy in Cosmopolis. We better get going. Heading to Cosmopolis, looks like Rose has turned back into Demogora, and is looking to absorb all the people there to achieve ultimate power. But luckily, Brunner manages to kill her. Never mind. We enter a new boss fight. One where we don't actually fight Demogora herself. This fight is more about distracting her while Brunner powers up for a charge attack. It was actually pretty fun. The only way to get her distracted is to stay near her, but you still have your own health to worry about. So you have to stay close, but not too close. Took me a few tries, but I eventually got it. Seeing that Demogora is weak enough, Brunner decides to freeze her solid to keep her trapped. Now we just have to deal with Ulthethot. on the moon! Going through a few more levels, it's time for the final battle with the Vile Emperor. And with that, we have finally defeated What in the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah. It looks like Rose had a makeover. Clowns. Ulthethot has a self-destruct button on the ship. Freb and crew will have to rush there. I guess Freb will have to rush there. Things on the moon base are slowly getting more and more corrupted as Rose takes over it more. She's not taking over the base, she's becoming it. With copies of herself chasing Freb through the tight corridors. Even Ulthethot is not safe, with Rose absorbing him also. With his back against the wall, Freb enters a final form. Somehow, and decides to show Rose he's not going down so easily. The others manage to escape, mainly because Rose has become a new planet. Yeah. In a desperate final battle against Demogora, Freb barely manages to stun her. Yes, stun her. Bardo comes back in the nick of time to save Freb, and in a final 2D shooter level, escapes. While planet Demogora is destroyed, a huge chunk goes after the escape pod. With little plan left, Dr. Mindstein decides to sacrifice himself and act as a kamikaze to end all the creepiness. Godspeed, Mindstein. God fucking speed. With that, the Earth is finally safe. For now. What about Rose and Ulthethot's cult? What about the people of the Yonderlands? With much left to do, Freb finds Foamy, and the two drive off into the distance, ready for whatever threat is next. Well, you did it. You saw it through to the very end. Through the thick and thin, the easy and hard, the light and dark, the silly and unsettling. You were just as dead bent as Freb himself on tying up every loose end and bringing an end to every baddie. I could give a half-hearted thanks, or some sarcastic jab about how this was a waste of your time, but honestly, wouldn't that be a bit reductive if I've made one thing clear over this entire story? It's that I believe what you value, attach to, struggle for, is far more important than we'd like to give it credit for. There's 1,000 games out there more tightly designed, clinically balanced, content-packed, and psychologically addictive than Frebbventure. If you got this far, there's a good chance you saw something more than just a fun time here. Perhaps you don't even know what it was. Even I'm still on a bit of a quest. To truly and fully understand the concepts I felt so strongly compelled to include. Truth can be brutal, evil can be lovable, and freedom isn't a one-way deal. It's easy to think it and say it. But what does all that really mean for us? Always remember, you aren't that unique. Even when your enemies seem untouchable, and the entire world appears to despise you, when you can't turn a corner without finding yourself at the mercy of someone who merely doesn't know they hate you for yet, your friends are out there. And they're just as desperate to be found as you are to find them. That was a very strange ending to say the least. I saw no one else on the internet talking about it, and thought I needed to spread the word. If you haven't played Frebbventure, please do so. And if you want more information on it, please check out my review. It's a very good game, and I really do suggest it. While the game's ending was weird, this one will be abrupt.